it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, should be done. So.
Hold on tight, everyone. We're diving into one of the most scandalous and controversial stories unfolding in a small Illinois town today. That's right, we're talking about the drama in Dalton with the so-called super mayor Tiffany Henyard. She is at the center of a whirlwind of allegations and controversies that threaten to bring down her entire empire. Once seen as a trailblazer by her supporters, Henyard's tenure now stands on the brink of ruin as financial scandals, federal investigations, and mounting allegations of misconduct swirl around her leadership. It all started with claims of lavish spending that shocked taxpayers. Henyard allegedly used public funds like a personal bank account, splurging on first-class airfare, luxury hotels, and flashy welcome banners, draining the town's finances in the process. Records show some staggering amounts, like $226,000 spent on a Las Vegas trip and over $133,000 on a high-end hotel in New York City, all billed to the taxpayers. Critics have slammed her approach to governance as reckless, calling her spending tone-deaf, especially in a town where public services like police and fire departments remain underfunded. Federal investigators have taken a deep dive into Henyard finances, combing through documents related to payroll reimbursements, credit card usage, and employment records. Among the more startling allegations is a claim that Henyard administration improperly paid nearly $900,000 to a local prosecutor, raising suspicions of favoritism, fraud, or worse, adding to the chaos as her former ally Keith Freeman, a key figure now implicated in his own web of corruption, including bankruptcy fraud, was once one of Henyard's most loyal supporters. Freeman now faces his own legal battles, and rumors are swirling that he may be cooperating with federal authorities in their investigation against the relationship between Freeman and Henyard. Once politically unshakable, it has shattered under the weight of mutual accusations and growing scrutiny. Freeman has claimed that Henyard attempted to fire him in an effort to silence his testimony, but the township board refused to follow her lead, further fracturing her hold on power. However, this situation isn't just about financial misconduct, it's also about the social and political fallout in Dalton. Henyard's decisions have divided the community, with trustees, many of whom are black, like Henyard, openly opposing her actions. They rejected her that criticism of her is rooted in racial bias, accusing her instead of mismanagement and corruption that transcends race. They point to the worsening fiscal health of Dalton and an increasingly dysfunctional administration. Meanwhile, Henyard has turned to emotional appeals, portraying herself as a leader under attack, invoking spirituality, and framing herself as a divinely chosen figure fighting against the forces of evil. Unfortunately, this tactic has done little to salvage her reputation behind closed doors. Her erratic governance and public conflicts have painted a picture of chaos rather than strategic leadership. Public frustration has grown with residents demanding accountability for the lack of transparency, missed board meetings, and spiraling debt that they fear could take generations to resolve. Federal prosecutors have now expanded their investigation, looking into members of Henyard's inner circle, including her deputy police chief and individuals linked to her now defunct burgers. This deepening web of allegations suggests that this is more than just a case of mismanagement, it's a multi-layered scandal implicating a network of corruption and the misuse of power and funds. As for Henyard, her response to the mounting accusations has been erratic at best. She has denied all allegations, calling them politically and racially motivated attacks. Even as damning evidence continues to surface, leaked videos, documents, and growing witness testimonies are painting a picture of a leader who is losing control both politically and personally. Despite any test the court of public opinion, she seems increasingly convinced that her actions have jeopardized not just her position but the very future of Adalon, from financial mismanagement to the erosion of public trust. The once promising vision of her leadership now lies in tatters. Federal investigators are determined to follow the trail of evidence, and with more officials willing to speak out, it seems Henyard's days in power may be numbered. As a small town's drama takes on national proportions, it's clear that the true cost is being felt by the residents of Dalton. Picture this, a tense, cramped meeting room thick with resentment and seething rage. At the center of it all is Mayor Tiffany Henyard, is a polarizing figure known for her bold fashion choices and her claim to be the most powerful woman on Chicago's South Side. But on this explosive day, her self-styled reign is under fire as she faces down her board of trustees. Emotions flare, and Henyard, visibly furious and unrelenting, she lashes out at the trustees, stopping the chaos. She demands her voice cut through the tension like a blade. "You don't stand for me, and I want you to step down." It's a startling display of frustration and defiance from a leader under siege, whose once unshakable grip on her village now seems to be slipping. But what's behind the uproar, and why is Henyard so rattled? The confrontation stems from a push for financial transparency that the embattled mayor has fought tooth and nail to resist. Recently, the Board of Trustees passed a motion demanding Dalton's financial dealings be brought into the light, calling for greater accountability and open access to financial documents. A move Henry's Yard met with disdain and defiance. Instead of complying with the board's mandate, the mayor swiftly and unilaterally overruled the decision, further intensifying the animosity in an already fractured government. The clash reached fever pitch during the heated meeting as truck trustees called out Henyard's refusal to embrace financial reform. Meanwhile, Henyard doubled down, turning the tables and framing the board as antagonists bent on undermining her leadership and fueling chaos in the village. Amid her fiery declarations, she introduced a motion to terminate Keith Freeman, a controversial figure who had once been a key ally in her administration. Freeman had long been a trusted confidant, but cracks in their alliance began to show when he became embroiled in allegations of corruption and bankruptcy fraud. He was accused of hiding income and assets in financial reports, and speculation that Freeman may have flipped, possibly cooperating with federal investigators now circling Henyard's administration. Fear and fury over Freeman's alleged betrayal may explain Henyard's relentless push to sever ties with him. Even as members of the Board of Trustees resisted her motion to oust him, at the heart of the standoff is Dalton's fractured government, riddled with tension and dysfunction. Henyard's refusal to comply with the board's push for transparency highlights the contentious nature of her leadership and an overwhelming need to maintain control and deflect scrutiny despite the mounting allegations against her administration for Henyard. This isn't just about Freeman, it's a battle to preserve the narrative of power she's worked tirelessly to construct. Her dominance, once unquestioned, is now under threat as trustees demand accountability. Community members grow increasingly vocal about their dissatisfaction, and federal investigators dig deeper into allegations of financial mismanagement. Rumors of her eventual downfall continue to swirl despite the mounting pressure. Henyard shows no intention of backing down throughout the fiery exchange. Her disdain for opposition is palpable as she accuses the trustees of plotting against her. She frames herself as a misunderstood figure fighting tirelessly for her village against relentless attacks from both within and beyond. She casts herself as a martyr for the people, standing firm against detractors who, in her view, would rather undermine progress than see her succeed. However, her rhetoric and refusal to compromise continue to alienate her colleagues and constituents, adding to the perception that her administration is spiraling out of control. Henyard's leadership has become synonymous with lavish spending, accusations of misuse of power, and controversies that overshadow any potential policy achievements. The board's insistence on opening the financial documents only intensifies existing suspicions about unchecked spending, travel expenses, and unaccounted funds tied to her administration. Critics argue that Henyard's opposition to transparency only reinforces the belief that her governance prioritizes personal gain over the public good. The community watches closely, aware of the high stakes. The meeting concludes without resolution, leaving trustees in Henyard at an impasse. Dalton's government remains mired in dysfunction, and residents are left uncertain about what lies ahead, yet one thing is clear: Tiffany Henyard, once renowned for her boldness and charisma, now stands precariously on the edge of a precipice. Her once solid empire is undermined by allegations.
We'll do it all night now. I believe he's cooperating.
What makes the situation such a colossal issue is that Lacey isn't just any police chief. He has been one of Tiffany Henyard's most devoted and loyal foot soldiers, allegedly carrying out her questionable deeds for years. The main concern reverberating throughout Dalton is whether Lacey, now facing serious federal charges, will flip on Henyard to save himself, a move that could deliver the final devastating blow to the self-proclaimed super mayor. This indictment has shaken not only Dalton but also Henyard's administration, raising serious questions about the integrity of those in her inner circle and threatening to expose a broader